Monday, April 29th, and welcome back to the Damon Bruce Show. We are brought to you by Ike's Sandwiches. Get yourself to Ike's and get yourself a sandwich this week. It is great to have you here. Thanks so much for coming on back. Really good weekend. Successful trip to the zoo in the books yesterday with the boys. That was good. Got Ozzy starting, moving from like daycare into official preschool. So big emotional morning here in the Bruce household, to say the least. And it's great to have you all here with me. Thank you so much to everyone who came out on Friday. Little group came out for what was unfortunately not the show from the Dubliner I was hoping for, because we had a bad Wi-Fi connection. So we only stuck around for one pick, but got to stick around for a few beers. And of course, Michelle Haberman made the trek in, among others. Erwin, it was great to see you there. Thank you to Mike for coming on by. I mean, an awful lot of people, well, actually like 5-6 people came on by, but it meant an awful lot. Thank you so much for the support. What an incredible group we got. We really, really do. And what a very interesting group the 49ers have signed as their 2024 draft class, starting, of course, with Ricky Pearsall, who has been much debated, the Niners' top pick in the first round. The Florida wide receiver has come with, varying degrees of acclaim or doubt that this guy's the right pick. Look, only time will tell. And what makes this a very interesting draft for the 49ers is that there is just simply no doubt. No doubt at all. They're trying to serve two masters at once. How many guys did they draft who are going to be on the field making an impact in 2024? And how many guys did they draft who have a longer view in terms of how they're going to fit into this team? More than anything else, the number one overarching story over the entire 49ers draft to me is simply this. Brandon Ayuk is still here. Deebo Samuel is still here, meaning that the 49ers are officially now in get that Ayuk deal done, and they are 100% in run it back mode. They're basically returning the same team without Eric Armstead, with early season injuries affecting Talanoa Hufanga and when he is going to be playing, and Dre Greenlaw obviously recovering from the Achilles. So outside of that, and what do you know, they did draft linebacker in this draft. They did draft a safety in Malik Mustafa out of Wake Forest who might fill that hole. A lot of people looked at the 49ers and said offensive line is the priority. And they obviously either saw it differently or played it differently as the board played itself in front of them. Ricky Pearsall could have absolutely have been a premier interior offensive lineman, and I think a lot of people would have walked away feeling better about this draft. Dominic Pooney, the guard that they got in the third round out of Kansas, let's see who he challenges and where he actually settles into the depth chart. He was a tackle. He is a guy who played right tackle. He's a guy who played guard. He's a guy who played center, and now we're all out of offensive line positions, aren't we? So it feels like they got a jack-of-all-trades guy in Pooney who can push, as I've said, Spencer Burford to be better. Spencer Burford's offseason workout program is officially more important to this 49ers offensive line than anyone that they could have drafted, in my opinion. Jake Brendel, if he's the weak spot, becoming less of a weak spot is what Jake Brendel's job is. Colton McKivitz, you might not be in love. The 49ers picked up an option on him a year before they even had to think about it, so they obviously feel much differently about him than some of his harshest critics do. So, Ricky Pearsall, Renardo Green, the corner out of Florida State. Again, Dominic Pooney in round 3. 3 fourth-rounders with Malik Mustafa, Isaac Guerendo, the running back from Louisville, who's definitely all kinds of interesting. More of a Shanahan want than a team need. And then Jacob Cowing, the wide receiver out of Arizona, which I know we spent no time talking about him, but a very productive player, especially when the price of poker went up at the end of the year for Arizona. He reserved some of his best games for his last games. So leave everyone with a good last impression. Jacob Cowing had real production. And when you get into these later round draft picks, you might not be getting the measurables that make everyone go, ooh, ah. And there you're looking for football players. Jarrett Kingston, offensive lineman out of USC. We'll see what he turns into, the 6th round selection for the 49ers. And then Tatum Bethune, who is an undersized linebacker at Florida State who played a ton of college football. So there was an awful lot of tape for the 49ers to look at and evaluate before they decided to bring him at 251 overall in this draft. You getting snaps out of pick number 251 at any point in time in this year, you will have hit on a player. For sure. Look at all the snaps they got out of Brock Purdy and for Mr. Irrelevant. So trying to come up with a definitive, I liked it, didn't like it, I love it, I hate it, evaluation for anyone. I wouldn't trust a single NFL general manager to speak on a player with that much conviction, much less a fan, much less any content creators, much less any beat writers. Everyone who just got picked, the NFL will tell us whether or not they can play. It isn't up to us to have a strong opinion. The league will be the litmus test. And that's why this league is incredible. Having said all of that, there is an undrafted free agent that Larry and I were talking about that as soon as the selection was made after the draft, I got a text from my boy Tom Ackerman, who is all around the Missouri football program. Ackerman's mom is an alumni. His wife is an alumni. And he covers the team. He's going to Columbus, Missouri to go to games all the time to either cover or attend games as a fan with his family. And as soon as the 49ers undrafted free agent Cody Schrader, who's a running back from Missouri, my phone started getting blown up by Tommy. And he basically said, you just got yourself a real deal football player. And then when you look into it, you know who you normally don't sign as an undrafted free agent? The nation's leading rusher. And again, this isn't coming from some colonial conference or the Sun Belt Conference where all of a sudden, oh, what do you know? This kid from Nichols State ended up leading the nation in rushing attempts, rushing yardage. Who gives a flying crap? This kid did it in the SEC. He led the nation in rushing, racking up an impressive 1,627 yards on the ground, 14 touchdowns, another 22 catches for nearly 200 more yards. The problem with him is he didn't have great measurables. Yeah, he doesn't run like the wind. He isn't the most physically impressive guy, and it's why he has been underestimated at every single turn of his football development, from high school to junior college to low division plays to transferring in to Missouri. And oh, by the way, he gets to the SEC, and without much speed and without much size, he leads the nation in rushing. So again, you can take your measurables right there with him. He's a football player. You know, what he lacks in measurement, he makes up for in game tape. It's a true testament to how devalued running back has become. And he's one of 2 running backs that are added around the draft. Again, Isaac Guerendo out of Louisville. This kid, for being 220 pounds, put up the 3rd fastest combine time at the draft. Kyle couldn't help but say, I want that guy. He's a Weapon X. Is he Kyle Juszczyk's replacement? more than he's going to be a Christian McCaffrey understudy? Only time will tell. But it feels like there's a level of production that he gave in college, which is going to make Kyle very curious about what he can get out of Garendo. Is he just a special teamer? Well, guess what? The price of talent on special teams is going up, and it's been a blind spot during the like, if we had to say, what is Kyle best at here? Kyle is best at running an incredibly sound offense while prioritizing defensive talent, draft after draft after draft. But that special teams play has just been a little bit of a blind spot. Maybe it'll be less of a blind spot now. Very interesting draft. No way to pretend that that whole bad boy wasn't really interesting. You look around the league, I think that there are a lot of teams that feel really good about where they're sitting. After 3 days of everybody being locked into the NFL draft, it felt like this draft was like the biggest of them all in terms of attention, in terms of the world leaning into it. I got to see what some of these numbers are based on first round, second round, third day coverage. I mean, I look at it this way. I really don't care what the numbers are. It had my full attention. I mean, when I was at the zoo, I'm on my phone. When I am trying to go ahead and be upstairs and be a dad, I had the other TV on, keeping track of it all. We were doing pics and videos about players and shorts, and I hope you enjoyed it all. It was an awful lot of fun to go through this draft. You know, when we launched the Plus, we didn't really lean into the draft in year one, but we leaned into it more this year and got two of the most viewed days in the young history of this channel. For the first time ever, we cracked six figures, over 100,000 views over the course of 2 days. And I thank everyone who leaned in to watch the content that we were producing. And I thank you also very, very much. And again, I thank my sponsors so very, very much. Mr. Ike got nothing but delicious sandwiches for you. I just saw the Adam Richman Man vs. Food from the Cooking Channel, which helped put Ike's on the app all those years ago. It was a rerun that just came on yesterday. This was pre-Vest Ike, before Ike started rocking the vest 7 days a week. Everyone looked so young. Adam Richman did. Ike did. So it was great to see that. And I'm telling you right now, get yourself to Ike's, download that app. And if you are the person in your office thinking, what should we do to bring in a little lunch for the office? Ike's Catering. Check it all out. You will be a hero. You will be celebrated like a conquering hero when you're the one in the office who decides to bring in a little Ike's. And when you decide to bring yourself to one of the great bars in San Francisco, get yourself to the Dubliner in West Portal. Again, thanks so much to the Dubliner for having us on Friday. We got to up that internet connection and continue to do shows from there, but more meetups are certainly going to be there whenever we want that top room to go play a little pool in. I know our good friends at the Dubliner are going to give it to us, and it was a really nice day on Friday to have a few people come on out, get some tasty Guinness, some tasty shots going down. Little J-Mo in an Irish bar, yeah, that happens too. So a lot of good stuff, and always great together when we can put this goofy community together in the same room. Nice people hanging out happens. And I love that. I really, really do. Okay. Who's ready for football? I mean, who is ready for some football? I'm ready. Hold on here. Wait a minute.
Maximum
Can we get a little maximum football back into the world? I mean, what's our next big moment in time? Our next big moment in time is going to be the NFL schedule release. Like, what the hell do we do between now and then? Oh, believe me, something's going to happen. The league, the world of sports, is always producing headlines that make you go, okay, I guess we got to talk about that. One of the sports headlines that I guess we got to talk about is when you sit around and evaluate who do you think had a good draft, bad draft, per usual, no one stands in the way of Dallas Cowboys' success more than Jerry Jones. A lot of people are looking at his draft going, all right, not very impressed. And then he follows it up by bringing in Ezekiel Elliott The biggest story today, this Monday after the draft, is that Ezekiel Elliott is a Dallas Cowboy once again. Sure, why not? Why don't you give Troy Aikman a call while you're at it? Any other ideas from the past? See what Jay Novacek is doing? I mean, dude, is there any element of Ezekiel Elliott that comes without a huge fork sticking out of his back? I mean, for a minute there, he was a great running back. And then quickly, he wasn't. And, I saw the headline like, 49ers, or excuse me, the Dallas Cowboys add weapon. Weapon? Is that the right way to describe Ezekiel Elliott at this point in the Ezekiel Elliott lifestyle? Weapon? If he is back to being their starting running back, like, oh my God. Okay. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. Again, the other big head scratcher from the draft is, what are the Atlanta Falcons doing? You drafted here we go, we're trying to win now quarterback. And then in your very first action, after signing Kirk Cousins, you then draft a quarterback, which just undercuts Kirk Cousins' role place on this team, like before he's even thrown a pass. Like, Kirk Cousins was brought in to be that other guy after RG3 got drafted. He then goes on to have an even better career, to the point where now he gets the first ever fully guaranteed come to the Minnesota Vikings deal, and no one really cared about that. And the level of success that the Vikings had with Kirk Cousins is certainly debatable. Might have worked out better for Kirk than anyone else, because there he goes, tearing his Achilles and still signing another $180 million contract to go to Atlanta to watch the very first thing they do is draft his replacement. Like, Kirk Cousins probably thought, finally, I don't need to be worried about, the object in the rearview mirror here. He was better off in Minnesota in terms of guy pushing him from behind him. Again, I can't understand moves that don't feel like they connect. That move doesn't feel like it connects. Think I got, I'm seeing here, I got a chat way over here at the bottom. I got a chat over here that's still at the top of the chat. But Otis Bird, my man, Otis Bird III says, hey, Ezekiel Elliott and Dak Prescott, they're really good friends. You should not be roster building based on friendships. Okay? Friends are not a reason to bring in anybody. Well, they really, really are good friends. And so what? Dak Prescott bought Ezekiel Elliott a Versace travel bag. So, as you all know, whenever we have a wake up, the sip of the day kind of goes off the board, but that was still pretty close. I went up and I refilled, and it was delicious. True Blue forever. And I got to start some barbacoa in the slow cooker after this. Yes. Who doesn't like a little barbacoa happening in the slow cooker? By the way, a lot of good suggestions come up here on the chat with my plusers. Tribe Called Plus gave me a little suggestion that I took to heart. I'll tell you about all of that here in just a minute, but a great recommendation out of you guys. You guys weren't even recommending it, but I see the little side chats that you have. Might not make it to Club Plus, might not officially come up, but I see the little chats that you're having. We'll get to a really good recommendation that you're all discussing over the last week or two that I finally have hopped on. Jillian likes it too. But before we do that, let me just say how pissed off I am at the Golden State Warriors for bowing out of this NBA's postseason. I'm not saying that they would have shook up the world, but I'm just, I love playoff basketball, and I'll tell you right now, I watch less playoff basketball when the Warriors aren't in the playoffs. I'm going out, I'm doing dad things, I'm trying to be a good husband and all that stuff. Can't pull the Jillian, can't go. Got to watch the Warriors, which, is usually a lever you start pulling about an hour before they tip off, which means you get to watch the end of this game. You get to watch that. You get to watch this. You get to watch that. I'd probably watch more Lakers Nuggets than anything else. And I'm telling you, the Lakers, if they win tonight, maybe you got a series brewing there, but probably not. And I think the Nuggets are going to win at home tonight. And au revoir Lakers feels like that's the way that series is going to go. Yeah, sure, they got one finally breaking, what was it, an 11-game losing streak against the Nuggets. So a little interest going on there. You got that Knicks series with Jalen Brunson. He's playing just great basketball. There's no denying that. And they're up 3-1 now on the total false profit 76ers. Joel Embiid can drop all the 50-point empty games that he wants. It's not going to make the Sixers a team to really be taken seriously in the postseason. Again, if your scoring average is dependent on how many free throws you shoot, welcome to the postseason. Things are not going to go for you the way that they wanted to. The Clippers maybe with a more impressive win yesterday than anybody because they did it on the road, 116-111 over the Mavericks to even that series. That's what's going on there. The Pacers had themselves an easier path in front of them because neither Dame nor Giannis were playing for the Bucks. So that was an easy win for the Pacers at home. And that brings us to Kevin Durant. That brings us to Broomhilda. The Phoenix Suns get their asses swept out of the postseason. Kevin Durant is a great individual basketball player. Without Steph Curry, he ain't gonna win anything in his career. What a completely awful leader Kevin Durant has proven himself to be now, not just through one, but two stops in his post-Warrior playing days. He couldn't be the center of follow me to victory if his life depended on it. Has there been anybody in the NBA who has done more to ruin Kevin Durant's reputation than Kevin Durant? The answer is no. That guy went out of his way to subtract himself from the greatest winning situation he's ever going to see in the name of follow me to victory, and he can't follow it. Kevin Durant's career since leaving the Golden State Warriors has been, I've thought of the word and I've found it, irrelevant. Since leaving the Golden State Warriors, Kevin Durant is irrelevant. Other than to his own impressive scoring abilities, when it comes to making teams better or important or impactful, there's a reason why this guy only gets in the passenger seat. He can't drive anything. He can't. Did you see the quote that Kevin Durant offered when asked, like, hey, when the chips are down, who's the leader of this team? And Kevin Durant said, well, our coach is the leader, which is why Kevin Durant will never be a leader, ever, in his life. And now you get all the stories like, oh, Kevin Durant isn't happy, Vogel's not happy, Bradley Beal is not happy, Devin Booker, and guess what? They gave up so much. They gave up so many assets to tie themselves into this team that just got swept. What a disaster. What a disaster they are. Oh my God. How are they supposed to get better? What is going to make this a better basketball team? I don't see it. I don't get it. There's no coach who's going to come in there and fix it. They can't add the players now to come in and fix it. And what they have is ridiculous. If you want to know how great the Warriors were, even as people were saying, it's Kevin Durant, he's winning finals MVPs, he's hanging banners, and he was a really, really good Golden State Warrior. He didn't lead shit. Don't let those NBA Finals MVP ever confuse you who the X marks the spot leader is on the Golden State Warriors? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Steph Curry might have missed the postseason this year, and he still had a better postseason than Kevin Durant just had. Oh, my God. What a disaster. And, you know, I don't like to be the guy who said, this is exactly what I told you was going to happen. And I said it the day Kevin Durant decided to become a Brooklyn Net. That's the day I told everybody Kevin Durant mattering is you watch him matter less. You watch him matter less. And Kevin Durant is sprinting towards really not mattering at all here at the end of what will be a first ballot Hall of Fame career. LeBron James is still a greater nightly impact bouncing around to several different organizations than Kevin Durant has been. What do we got going on? Oh, by the way, Otis Bird III says it correctly. Missouri. Missouri. If you're local, it's definitely Missouri. Not Missouri. I think we're just going to go ahead and instead of officially slipping into a little Club Plus today, we're just going to start attacking some of these comments right here because let's see. From a baseball standpoint, what do we got going on? It's the Pirates in Oakland and the A's. You want to talk about a series only a abused fan base could love. Both of those fan bases tick those boxes off. Giants took 2 of 3 against the Mets. Then they took 2 of 3 against the Pirates. And now it is a dark day, and not a dark day, but it's an off day for the Giants as they're traveling all the way to the East Coast. Here's something you don't get much of. Giants at Fenway. That begins on Tuesday. So Giants on the road, starting a series at Fenway. I always love watching games at Fenway. You don't get to see her nearly as much as you usually want to when you cover the National League, maybe more than anything else. So give me some Giants at Fenway. Absolutely. Ernie Chavez, I don't even know where this came from. What about Willard and Dibbs? Can't forget Jason Page or JT the Brick. I don't even know what we're talking about there. But I tell you, Jason Page was a good guy, didn't really work out. He had a bad program director that brought him in. And JT the Brick got screwed over by being like a human sounding board for Raider anxiety as they were moving. So like he was kind of set up to fail. Anyway. The last thing I'm going to do is worry about what is happening on the radio ever again. Who gives a shit? So, every now and then, the chat carries on a conversation that I might not have illuminated in any way, shape, or form, but out of the corner of my eye, I saw it. A lot of people in that chat like the series Shogun. I remember Shogun being a miniseries on TV when I was a kid. And I remember I have always, like every other dude in the world, been fascinated with like feudal Japan. What a crazy culture that they had. The series Shogun on Hulu is officially as good as everyone in this chat says it was. And Jillian and I started watching on Friday night, and we're 5 episodes in now. This series is awesome. Absolutely awesome. It's like they took Shogun, saw the success that HBO had with Game of Thrones, and said, let's lean in to the adult themes and the uncomfortable themes and the grand story of it all, not dumb it down, but get even deeper into the mythology of all of these warring Japanese factions, and let's really mix in a level of religion into all of this that wasn't necessarily the focus of the old TV miniseries. Shogun's fantastic. You were right. You were absolutely right. It's been fantastic. I've loved Shogun. Absolutely loved it. So good job, everybody. Good job. What do we got going on here? What are we going on here? Sam Bruno Mike, never a bad time for
Maximum
Yeah, feels like we need to wait for another real episode of Maximum Football to get to us when that schedule release comes out. Was that sometime month of May, June? When is the damn schedule release? I'll have that information for you by tomorrow's show. I'm guessing you can go look it up right now. But yeah, that's going to be the next big, like, hey, NFL is capturing all of our attention moment. We're going to have to create some interesting content. Luckily, your boy's ready to do that. We're ready to go, baby. Plus Mania at a game. That would be epic. Like a Niner game? A Giants game? Maybe we will do that. By the way, Leslie, officially ready for a little Maximum Football. I mean, who isn't these days? Dale says, yeah, I couldn't help but notice that the Dallas Cowboys didn't draft a running back or sign one. Yeah, and then Ezekiel Elliott. Wah, wah. True Blue forever. Hey, maybe Dion can still play. I bet you Dion has got a better back pedal right now at this point in time in his playing arc than Ezekiel Elliott might be a running back. Mike, who saw that pick coming from, I'm guessing, the Dubliner, saying maybe the Wi-Fi was having too many shots. Maybe it was. Actually, it might have run better with more shots. Ezekiel Elliott looks like a goddamn Ewok. Dale. Wolfie says, I just posted your response in a short about 49ers fans complaining about Shanahan. It was a beautiful response. Well, thank you, Wolfie. I appreciate that. Look, again, to complain about Kyle Shanahan as incessantly as some people do, like, why are you even bothering rooting for the 49ers? If that guy rubs you the wrong way, I'm just telling you, he's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. So, saying that you love Kyle Shanahan, or excuse me, saying that you love the Niners but hate Kyle Shanahan is like basically saying right now, I love swimming, but I hate the water. You really can't have one without the other. And you are setting yourself up to be miserable for the next several years because Kyle isn't going anywhere. Oh, except 2 Super Bowls. And I'm sorry he hasn't won one of those yet. But if Kyle Shanahan is bad losing a Super Bowl, what is every other coach who didn't reach the Super Bowl or even qualify for the playoffs? What have you got with those guys? I think people like to complain about coaches because it's an easy thing to do. It takes no effort at all to just be like, I don't like the coach. All right, well, You probably don't even speak the same language as he does. As a matter of fact, don't even pretend that you can speak the same language that he does. I don't pretend. I've been covering the NFL for 20 years, and the last thing you'll ever see me pretend to be is smarter than the football team that I cover when it comes to football. There are other content creators that insist that the football team is an inferior football think tank than what they're doing on their own YouTube pages. And those are the people who are so turned around from the way reality actually points that they're so full of their own bullshit that they got nothing to sell other than that. Did we just become best friends, True Blue Forever? I don't know if you're talking about you and me, but yes, I hope so. J49 says, Dak and Elliott are washed up. So Dak Prescott, again, another one of these, everyone loves to complain about coaches. If you think Dak Prescott is a bad quarterback, who's a good one? Dak Prescott is a really good quarterback, kids. Period. He is. He's the least of the Dallas Cowboys' problems. Seriously. Dak is a lot of things. Washed up just ain't one of them. Tim cites, you should not be roster building based on friendships. Take notes, Kyle. I don't think Kyle's out there bringing in just guys that he likes because he likes them. Kyle is, the first guy in the world to be hard to please. Uh-oh, side chats. Who said what? See, this is before I read yet. I'm just talking about Shogun. Don't worry. Rockin' New Era 84, barbacoa from Chipotle is underrated. May God have mercy on your taste buds. Again, if you live in Northern California and you ever eat at Chipotle, what are you doing? You can throw a rock and hit any building in the Mission. There's a better taco or burrito waiting for you, even in the buildings in the Missions that don't sell tacos or burritos, than there is at any Chipotle. Come on. J49 does have this, though. NBA sucks without the Warriors. You watch their ratings. Do you all think that the Spencer Burford can play tackle? Logan, no. I think he's going to be a really good guard. I think this is a big offseason for Spencer Burford. Again, I did this video before the draft, months before the draft. The best guard that the Niners could add would be Spencer Burford, making that huge leap from year 2 into year 3. That's the best thing that could happen to this Niners offensive line. Jake Brendel, I'm also going to take my glasses down and look at you like a librarian for a moment too. Jake Brendel, same thing for you, buddy. All right. Hey, do you think we could do a barbecue in Damon and Jillian's backyard? I love you all very, very much. Having said that, I don't know if I want everyone knowing where I live. San Francisco. It's close enough. Close enough as a data point for you. Khalil King says KD back to the Warriors in 2024, then leave when the Supersonics come back. The biggest mistake Kevin Durant ever made was leaving the Golden State Warriors. A lot of people tell you that the biggest mistake Kevin Durant ever made was joining the Golden State Warriors. Nope, it was leaving the Golden State Warriors. Again, if Kevin Durant had a real leader to play next to, his career might matter again. I mean, imagine having Steph Curry as your point guard and thinking, nope, I need Kyrie Irving. And Kyrie is a very special basketball player. But he has won his championship and will never win another one, ever. And neither will Kevin Durant, unless he were to return to the Golden State Warriors, and even that ship may have sailed by now. So, Dante DiVincenzo from Chef A. Isn't it great watching him turn into something with the Knicks, man? I'll tell you, the Warriors really, it's too bad that they couldn't keep a guy like that around. But Dante played himself to a better paycheck, and he is playing himself into another one of those paychecks. I've never heard a player described as this, but SF Indigo. Kevin Durant is frozen yogurt. Okay. How do we feel about frozen yogurt? The right frozen yogurt's very satisfying. The right frozen yogurt can win a playoff game. Maybe not next to custard or straight up delicious ice cream, but good frozen yogurt's good frozen yogurt. I don't even know what that means, but I wanted to highlight it and illuminate it. Thank you very much. The Suns are so screwed. They really are. I mean, I think that their next first-round pick is in 2033 or something like that. I mean, they gave up a boatload for a guy like Kevin. Kevin Durant is, 15 minutes away from demanding a trade now? I mean, here's what we do know. When the going gets tough, Kevin Durant is looking for his luggage. Where can he go to next? KD needs Steph more than ever before. Sure does. Now, Troy might be right here when he says Dre told him to leave. You have to partially blame that on Draymond Green. Look, we can partially blame a lot of stuff on Draymond Green. But to be a Warrior and to be a great Warrior, you got to figure out how to make it work with Draymond's assholery bubbling up. And the fact that Draymond was mean to Kevin Durant once, and Kevin Durant couldn't stop pouting about it at all for an entire year, just shows you what a dandy Kevin Durant is mentally. Kevin Durant wants to pretend he's mentally tough. He's not. He's not. Mentally tough means you see things through. Kevin Durant runs to his next opportunity all the time. Yeah, Suns payroll already at $200 million next year. It's a disaster. It's a disaster. That's the thing, and I think that Khalil King might be right here saying, keep Dre. I bet if Kevin Durant came back, they would be best friends. Dre would appreciate him more since they got to play with, Andrew or Jordan Poole. You might be right. And I would get Kevin Durant back on the Warriors if I could, but he now needs them more than they might need him. Again, when you abdicate leading, you need someone to lead you. Why were you going to let Bradley Beal be your leader? I don't. I don't see a champion in Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant sidled up to a champion to become a champion. He was a huge help in those championship efforts, but clearly if just left to Kevin Durant, you ain't coming close to one. But you can be assured that Kevin Durant wants out of Phoenix is going to, if it's not already a story, it's going to be one. You're going to hear it. You're going to absolutely hear that over and over again. The only time KD is a leader is during the Summer Olympics, every 4 years to make up for the team that he just left decimated. Leslie, you watch, he won't even be a leader then. He won't even be a leader then. He'll just kind of be along for the ride. I mean, he'll be along for the ride to the tune of 27 points, and, it's effortless when it goes down, but again, I know what real wanting to win looks like. Kevin Durant was winning, became just a little bit uncomfortable, and then he decided that seeking comfort was more important than wading through the discomfort to keep on winning. And to me, that's bitch. There's no other way to say it. Sporticus, Richard Chamberlain, Shogun TV miniseries was awesome back in the day. I have to check out the new one. Absolutely you do. Absolutely. Shogun is, I think it might be my favorite show since Game of Thrones. Really. And I'm only 5 episodes in, but we are in. It's great. They spent $250 million to make Shogun, Redjet says. That's a serious investment, but you can see it. You can see it. It's done so well. It's done so well. And Redjet wants us all to go to a Niner game. See, here's the thing. I would never, ever ask a group of people to go to Levi's Stadium. That's a way to fuck over a group of people. Hey, come pay way too much money to watch a game that is officially better on TV in the worst modern stadium built in the NFL. I'm sorry. You can love the Niners all you want, but if you want to go to a game at Levi's Stadium, that's on you. That place sucks. And I covered the team better from right here than most anyone will ever cover that team from a press box. So I don't think I'll be going to many more games ever at Levi's Stadium. Bravo. Oh, well, thank you. I don't even know what I did, but thank you very much, Erwin. Great to see you. Thank you for coming on out. Let's see what else we got here. Redjet, May 9th. May 12th is Redjet's birthday. All right. Well, we'll get ready for May 12th, Redjet. DJ Melvis says, fun fact, the word Ewok is never said throughout Star Wars. Ewok isn't used once in Jedi? Really? I mean, okay, I guess I'll take your word for it, but wow. Okay. I had no idea. Hugh Josky Bear says, I was always intimidated to read Shogun given the size. It was given as a gift, and I had it on my shelf for most of my adult life. When I heard it was being made to a show, I read it in 2 weeks. Sporticus, Frank Gore still available? Not only is Frank Gore unavailable, his son is officially now unavailable. Frank Gore got signed by the Buffalo Bills. Frank Gore Jr. did as an undrafted free agent. So good for Frank Gore Jr. Again, Hugh Josky filling in on Shogun, saying it was fantastic. Here's the thing. I really think, Hugh Josky Bear, if you went through Game of Thrones, which was so heavily layered with detail and backstory and all of these different warring families, if you were able to absorb that, it makes Shogun, in retrospect, look like no big deal. Like, we can definitely, get through that if you went through all of Game of Thrones. Texas Niner. Damon, when does Kyle reach Marv Levy status? Well, he would need to lose 2 more Super Bowls as a head coach to get to Marv Levy status. And I do believe Marv Levy, even with 4 Super Bowl losses, is still in the Hall of Fame. 2 Super Bowls feels like 2 such huge scoops of ice cream that you make an awfully big sundae out of them. But the truth is, 2 games is not a very big sample size. Trying to say that because of these 2 games and how they played out, we know for a fact he's never going to win a Super Bowl is insane. Real Deal Sports says we live in a world where it's all or nothing, Damon. It's sad, but it is what it is. Look, we certainly live in a world where if you're not overreacting, you hardly react. Larry, my man Larry, my response to people who complain about Kyle Shanahan or Steve Kerr is, okay, who would you actually want to replace them with? And again, like Kruger was just saying in our wake up this morning, it's real easy to walk into a kitchen with a sledgehammer and tear it all down. When it comes to rebuilding the kitchen, that now you need someone who knows what they're doing. Who is the coach that tomorrow, if he were hired instead of Kyle Shanahan, you automatically get better? I don't know who it is, and you don't either. And while you got a guy who keeps on winning NFC championships or competing for NFC championships, only an idiot would insist we got to get off this train to reach our destination faster. Only an idiot. What else? What else we got? Damon, I like Chipotle. I like Mexican food. They are not the same. Okay. Maybe that's the fairest way to evaluate it. Maybe that is the fair. It's not necessarily Mexican food. It's Mexican adjacent. I'm trying to understand our new cornerback that's pretty much the same as Ambry Thomas. Again, Ambry Thomas is, unfortunately, in some lowlights, he's pretty good for just 2 years into his career. He really is. I think Ambry Thomas, when he's playing well, the Niners are a better football team. All right. Roddy Richards on Twitch taking a shot at Hoosiers. He loves to do it. Damon, did you know that Purdue had more players get drafted in this year's draft than the Indiana Hoosiers? Yeah, the Hoosiers are one of, I think, just a small handful of Power 5 teams that didn't have a single draft pick from them. And if you've watched the way Indiana's been playing, that should not surprise. Look, if you're ever trying to get under my skin by making fun of Indiana football, you won't do it, because I'm here to tell you that Indiana football is the worst major college football program in America and will be for a very, 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 very long time. Now, let's see what Coach Cignetti has. But, yeah, it's always painful. Which is why now I will be rooting for the Alabama Crimson Tide, I think is my official college football team, because a lot of Indiana's old coaching staff is there now. So let's go. Roll Tide. End time hit the over. Are we now over-undering length of show? Note the word assholery. Yeah, try to work it into your day. Let everyone know that you will not be tolerating assholery, Red Jet. It's going to be Curry's Olympic team. This is Curry's first Olympics. I'm excited. I am excited to see Steph go get a gold medal. And Steve Kerr, You better get him that gold medal. Terror Dome. You're so right. KD gave into the haters. He really did. Kevin Durant, instead of managing his own career, decided to let a 15-year-old kid tweet him out of Golden State. It's so mentally weak. Again, if Kevin Durant showed up at Golden State to join the biggest winner there ever was and bandwagon off of that, the only way that he could have made it cool is if he turned into the single greatest winning outfit of all time. And he ran away from that before he turned it into that. If Kevin Durant had become the Pablo Escobar of overwhelming Golden State Warrior teams, there would have been a nobility attached to it that everyone tried to say could never be there. But again, he ran away from winning because he was told what you're winning doesn't count. Guess what? You know what counts even less than winning with the Warriors? Getting swept as a member of the Phoenix Suns after you bitched and moaned your way right off of the team in Brooklyn you tried to reinvent on the fly in your own name, image, and likeness. And look at what a disaster that was. No way Terror Dome is here. Yes, he is. Terror Dome is here. I'm good to see you, Terror Dome. Hopefully you're liking. Hopefully you are subscribing. Hopefully you're considering becoming a member. Memberships are indeed available. But Terror Dome, thank you very much for being here. If Red Jet is excited, we're very excited. And there you go. Damon, let's just do a party in the basement. Just throw open the garage door? Absolutely. And this is, I tell you what, Terror Dome, you're right about this. I would have ran off 6 in a row talking more shit than a porta potty in an Indian restaurant. Yes, that's it. If Kevin Durant had come here and just with the Warriors laid waste to the league for years in a row, it would have eventually been, regarded as freaking badass. But nope. Didn't happen. Didn't happen. He got scared. Stacy Leo. Valor Margulis. Valar Dahir. It was Daharlis. It's been a while since I've seen Game of Thrones, but it's something in that. I'm close. Yeah, to officially reach Marv Levy's status, you do need to lose 4 Super Bowls in a row. Belichick, if you brought in Bill Belichick, you're bringing in a guy who's obviously done an awful lot, and he's in his, 70s? Kyle's still the direction to be pointed in, I think. I really do. I would have loved it if they could have added Bill Belichick as like a consigliere. Bruce Arians? Come on. I don't think so. Okay. Sporticus says, yes, Kyle has lost 2 Super Bowls. He could have won to the same team. Having said that, he would have had another job had he reached his car on the day they let him go. Yes, they would. And here's the things. Kyle has lost 2 Super Bowls to the greatest contemporary team that he has run up in against. The Chiefs are a bona fide all-time with Patrick Mahomes dynasty. They are that. It's not like, Oh, seriously? You guys reached the Super Bowl and you lost to the Carolina Panthers in their one-off year of getting good? No, that's not what's happening here. Kyle keeps on running into a historically, significantly good NFL team. So there you go. I think we have had ourselves a very good Monday show, and I hope that you do indeed agree. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the support, whether it be right over here, or in person at any Plus Mania, or a Dubliner meetup, or going out and getting an Ike sandwich. Thank you so much for the support. Please hit like and subscribe on your way out if you haven't already. We're on our way to 20,000. We are in that 19,000 range right now. I told you I wouldn't be giving updates until we got to 20,000. We're getting closer and closer. You guys are awesome. The chat is awesome. Shogun is awesome. We will know more about whether or not this draft was awesome or not in a couple of years. How many snaps were drafted? That's what I'm going to be counting. Of all the guys who were drafted, how many actual snaps make the field this year? If it's more than I expect, and the Niners win a Super Bowl, it's one of the greatest drafts they've ever had. And if they don't win a Super Bowl, I know everybody's going to want everybody fired and just angry. Everybody's going to be angry. Pretty good football team. It's a pretty good football team that is basically returning everyone from a team that just went to the Super Bowl. There's got to be worse roster construction out there. So insisting that the Niners are getting worse in front of your own eyes, I think is just looking for a problem that really isn't there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Thank you for liking, subscribing, watching the videos. It means so much. It just breaks my heart to tell you that, you don't have to go home. You can't stay here. But most importantly, that sports don't build character. They reveal it. And like that, he's gone.